among scrubs. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And plus, he showed last.
I think when you look at a really good team, usually there's the reason that the starters are so good is because
What's up? You tuned in to Talkin Nonsense. It's your boy Amari here with my co-host Christian and my other co-host Jace. How y'all doing, fellas?
good.
How was your weekend?
Busy. Had a wedding. I was video recording a wedding, so
Christian
had a tough
How was
weekend.
your weekend?
It was tough.
We'll get into it. I know all
Yeah.
the stuff. We'll get into it. You don't have to say too much. Other than that, how was your weekend, though, Christian?
Pretty good. I mean, other than that one little slip up, but like you said, we'll get into that.
Oh man. Well, starting off with our random fact of the day, it is back since I am back, obviously. Random fact of the day: a 13-year-old boy in Florida was once arrested for excessive farting in school.
What?
A 13-year-old kid in my home state was arrested for excessive farting in school. Like, this kid was just tearing it up. He was ripping it. Brr, brr, brr. And the teacher must have had to call the school police. Like, he must have knocked the kid out or something, you know.
That's a lot of farting, bro. To get kicked out of school?
But, like, how can you no, not just kicked out of school. He was arrested.
And arrested?
Like, how do they put cuffs on a kid for farting?
It had to put somebody's life in danger. Like,
Yeah.
all that, what's the gas that comes out when you fart?
Tear gas? Oh.
No, like
No,
nitrogen or something like that.
I didn't.
Phosphate.
Hey, it was first of all, tear gas was coming out of my mouth before you finished saying when you were farting. I just immediately thought the gas that comes out when you are stuck in a gas chamber.
No.
Hey,
No.
Hey, we might have to edit that part out. I'm telling you, I sounded real stupid.
It's all right.
But nah, man. Moving on from the random fact of the day, y'all didn't hear that. Moving on from the random fact of the day, we want to get into some stuff that we talked about on last Thursday's episode. Predictions, the Bills beating the Rams, as I called it. Deshaun Watson still struggling because he don't have the help that he needs. Call that. Who else did we talk about? Oh, we were all wrong on the Jaguars versus Dolphins.
Jags.
Atlanta lost again.
Up again, 16
Blew
points in the
another
fourth
lead.
quarter. Hey, shout out to my guy Nick Foles, though, man. We need you in Philadelphia right now, man. It's tough times for my boy Carson Wentz, man.
They lost Tariq Cohen this week,
Who?
too.
Did they?
Chicago, yeah.
Really?
I mean, but
ACL.
they still got David Montgomery and Allen Robinson. They benched Mitch Trubisky, so they got some things going up for them.
I'm not surprised they benched Trubisky though. I mean, he did pretty good to start.
They're 3-0 though.
Yeah.
My surprise came in them being 2-0 and benching him when he's losing.
Mm-hmm.
Like most guys, you see that happen when they lost a couple of games. They're down again at half, or they're down again in the third, and you're like, all right, we're pulling them. But I don't know, man. That was a different one for me.
Who's a bigger flop, Josh Rosen or Trubisky?
Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
Where did he even play at?
Miami.
The Dolphins waved him.
Dolphins?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Dolphins waved him.
And
I didn't know
and then he
that.
went to the Cardinals, didn't he?
Where'd he go to college?
North Carolina.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I feel bad for Chicago fans. Every week there's a meme about Patrick Mahomes and how good he does for the Chiefs, and Mitch Trubisky's on the bench.
And it's crazy. Even if you draft Deshaun Watson instead of Mitch Trubisky, you're in a way better. With the defense they had Mitch Trubisky's rookie year, Deshaun Watson probably wins a Super Bowl his rookie year. They had the best defense in the league, hands down, and they just needed points.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they just need you to throw 2 touchdowns a game, which it sounds hard, but it's really not when you're an NFL quarterback. 2 touchdowns a game, or even set up some touchdown scoring drives. Like, it was a point where they couldn't drive down the field and run the ball in. Like, you don't need the big play all the time, but we need you to make some plays so we can take the next step. Like Jimmy Garoppolo is not a great quarterback, but he can make the plays for them to get to the Super Bowl.
How much of that is leadership though? You know, how bad of a leader is Trubisky to where he can't even? You know, every quarterback in the NFL has talent.
I think being a leader is the easy part, and when it comes to being a quarterback in the NFL, like leadership is natural. That's something you do. Like if you're the best player on your team in high school, you normally like become the leader. Like knowing that you're the starting quarterback, being a leader, like it kind of embraces you.
But maybe what I'm saying is he's not good for that role. Like the reason he failed is because people can't get behind him. You know what I mean?
You're right.
I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. You know, you're going to be a good leader, you're probably going to be a good quarterback.
I don't know, man.
I don't know if he has what it takes.
I don't know. I'm not sure because, like, I'm not on the team with this guy. I'm not in the huddle. And, like, I'm not in the huddle of any NFL offenses, so I don't know what type of leaders guys are. Like, I mean, you take it at face value. Like, you see Mahomes on the sideline, you can tell he's a good leader. But I feel like every quarterback from college on up has that pick-me-up in their voice.
Well, they should.
You like having pick me up. And that's what I'm saying. Having pick me up doesn't always translate to you going out and being able to complete the passes.
Right.
Like I'm pretty sure at some point he was a great leader when he was a better quarterback on lower levels, but now he's at the best level, and he doesn't get to win like that. So like to say that he's a bad leader now when he's been leading so well for all these years is kind of weird.
I have no comment. He's trash. So. I don't think he should have been drafted first round anyways.
I didn't even know about him until he got drafted.
Yeah. I mean, he had pretty bad college stats for 1 year, and everybody was like ranting over how good he was arm talent wise, but he can't make plays down the field. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to mimic Mahomes and Watson, and he's not that type of quarterback. I
would even say plays down the field. He threw a pick on third down on Sunday when it was like a drag route, and he threw it behind him and watched the linebacker just watched him throw it and he just took it. So like, I just think he's not a backup, he's not a starter, he's a tight end probably, fullback or something. Change positions.
He's a coach.
Moreover, moving into the college football world, the SEC came back Saturday, and, you know, I was scared for about a half of football for the Georgia Bulldogs, and then, you know, we turned it up. How did your college football team fare this weekend, Christian?
I'll go first. My team hasn't played yet. We play October 24th.
The Big Ten is coming back.
Yeah, but
until then, we'll talk about the Big 12.
Well, I mean, like always, they dropped an egg. Or laid an egg, I guess, but K-State came into Norman and snuck one out. So
they K-Stated it up.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Is that 2 years in a row?
Yeah.
Wow.
48-41 in Manhattan last year.
How do you feel about
38-35 this year?
Spencer Rattler. You're very high on this kid. We can go back into episodes where you raved about him.
I still like him. I mean, he's a 5-star dual-threat quarterback, and if you watch the K-State game, there were multiple opportunities where he could have escaped out of the pocket, and he kept his eyes down the field for too long. I mean, that's something I actually like about a quarterback. You know, if they escape the pocket, they continue to look downfield and see if somebody's open. But with this K-State defense pressuring so fast, he wasn't looking to run. That wasn't ever his first option. I mean, if you think about it, they had 5 starters out on defense, and OU failed to get anything up the field. Now, when they started pressuring him, I'm like, he's a dual threat, so he can run it. They're pressuring off the side, so he can run up the middle, but he would swing it right and force it. Granted that 1 out of those 2 interceptions were tipped. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. You pick it off of a tipped ball. But, and then the second one, he threw a drag route to Mims and got it picked off when he had running room. I mean, I don't understand if you're getting pressured that much and that quickly and you're dual threat. It seemed like he was scared to run the ball. And ultimately it cost OU the game because he was not using his abilities.
I'm going to tell you what it come back to. I said it, was that last week or the week before last where we talked about the amount of impact momentum has on like sports games. All it takes is that one play for a team to turn it around. And K-State had that one play and they just kept rolling. They rolled and rolled. And like momentum, like it's funny because like once you get a big thing of momentum, like it takes one play, like I said, it takes one play to change it. But sometimes you on that side where you need more than one play. You need like 2 drives. And OU would try to take it back and K-State would say, nope, I'm still going to roll.
You know,
and I'm going to roll and I'm going to roll.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think OU ever had full momentum in that game, even being up 21-7.
No, how did they not? They were up 14 points early, and like it was convincing. Like they looked obviously better than K-State. The first 21 points y'all scored looked very easy.
I look at it this way: they weren't clean scores, meaning Rattler just wasn't dropping back in the pocket and throwing dimes. He had to escape on one of those and throw a touchdown pass, and that's why I wasn't too convinced when they were up 21-7.
But when he escaped,
the game in the bag.
when he escaped, it didn't look hard at all.
It didn't, and I'll give him that. But
it just looked like
the feel of the game.
He got tired. He got tired in the pocket and was like, "All right, let me move so something can open up." It didn't look. It wasn't like he was about to get sacked and he escaped. He just moved.
And my second thing is, OU isn't that one-dimensional offense. They have a balance. Run game and pass game, you know, and that's how they blow a lot of people out.
Mm-hmm.
OU did not have a run game at all. They had over 100 yards, but if you look at it, you can't survive off of, you know, a running back getting 3-4 yards when you and on plays where you need at least 6 or 8, especially when you're on second and long.
Mm-hmm. You know, this is a sad day. I was very happy. I was like, I can't wait to talk about this next week on the show.
Yeah. I had to take a few deep breaths because, you know, K-State fans talk real loud.
I was hoping my man Marcus Willie could get in and call in and talk some trash to you today, but he was busy, so, you know.
I think it was just the epitome of a Big 12 game. No defense, shootout.
K-State played defense.
K-State played defense.
K-State, but that's what. But remember what I said when we was talking about comebacks, and he was talking about how like it's on the offense. I'm like, bro, the defense gets stops, bro. K-State was losing, they got stops, and then the offense started driving the ball.
They got stops, but the final score was still 38-35. Like that's an insane amount of touchdowns.
I'm not even joking. But it was like clockwork. The announcer. The commentator was like, you know, they beat OU last year because they got turnovers on their side of the ball, gave them a short field for their offense. Guess what happened? Running back popped the ball. K-State recovers on OU's side. Then they block that punt, gives them a short field. I'm like, clockwork. But OU gives up 2 plays, and they drive for both scoring touchdowns.
It's going back. OU scored 31 points, right? 35 points.
35.
Yeah.
They scored 21 of that in the first half.
Yeah.
Like 14 points in the second half given up by K-State defenses. That's way better compared to the first half.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like K-State did a lot of scoring in the second half. Don't get me wrong, but their defense came out and played, and that's what led to it.
It's not very often though you see a Big 12 game that's low scoring.
No, Texas Tech and Texas went 66-58
some points. Yeah.
63-58.
No
and
defense.
Texas came back down 16. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's what's really crazy. I don't think the Big 12 gonna get a team in or gonna have a chance to get a team in because Texas gonna lose 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And
my thing is everything's still in front of OU.
They dropped 13 spots.
Yeah.
SEC got 3 teams in the top 4.
It's just weird because there's no like Pac-10, no 8.
The Pac-12 is coming back, but the announcers are like they don't know what they expect. Like they're not going to get a team in the playoffs because a 9-1 team would be considered better than a 7-0. A 9-1 SEC team would be considered better than a 7-0 Pac-12 team.
What about the Big 10?
I think it's the same thing. They're starting too late.
Yeah.
Which I feel like Ohio State is Ohio State. Don't get me wrong. Like they can go undefeated and like people won't doubt it. But if Oregon or Stanford or Washington did that, it's going to be doubted.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the Big 12 was to shorten to 12 games, it'll be doubted. I mean, was to shorten to 7 games, like, oh, you would probably be the only team that would possibly get a nod from there. But anybody else go undefeated, they're not getting a nod because the conference plays weak.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's what people on the outside say.
Per se, yeah.
Moving on, last sports topic of the day. NBA Finals start tonight. Game 1, Lakers Heat. What y'all thinking?
I got Lakers in 5.
Ooh. I got Heat in 6.
Heat in 6?
You crazy. If the Heat win, it's going to 7. I got Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6?
Only because the Heat got the best shooters in the league. They got the best shooter in the league right now because Steph Curry's out. Duncan Robinson is a great shooter. Tyler Hero is doing great coming off the bench. You got Jimmy Butler, he's still him. Goran Dragic is a great point guard. I'm not gonna say elite, but what he did in that Boston series was great for the Heat, and that can help them moving on. But the Lakers still are too much. With AD and LeBron alone, that's just too much for the Heat. Too much firepower. So Lakers in 6.
I just don't think the Heat have enough experience. Obviously, that hasn't proved them to be an issue so far, but
they some dogs.
Yeah,
they some dogs.
They're a good team.
I think, and honestly, I think Bam Adebayo and Jamie Butler match up good on the defensive side against LeBron and AD. But the Heat run this zone because they got some other it's smart, which a lot of people say running zone in the NBA is for cowards. Shut up. They got shooters, and their shooters are defensive liabilities. So why put them on a man, and then they're forced to make shots because they're giving up 2 on the other end every possession. So no, let's play some zone. Let's get their hands active, and let's get some fast break points, and then we'll set up and they can catch and shoot in the half court. I don't think it's bad at all.
I think it's going to be a rough series for LeBron, but then again,
why do you feel
it's
that
LeBron.
way?
I think it's going to be another, like, you remember when Kawhi was at the Spurs? They went to the finals against the Heat, and everybody's like, oh, Kawhi's going to shut down LeBron. I think it's going to be one of those with Jimmy and LeBron.
When LeBron averaged 27 points a game.
To LeBron, that's shutting them down.
How do you figure that?
Huh?
How do you figure that?
I think it's because people are kind of counting the Heat out. Everybody's always saying, oh, they're the underdog, but I mean, as far as my concern, they're the ones that's been dominating the playoffs.
If LeBron scored 27 points a game, they gonna get swept.
I don't know, because LeBron, if LeBron
Anthony
scores
Davis
35 plus, then yeah, I would say they're gonna get swept. But if they keep them under 30, I think that's a win for the Heat.
Right. LeBron used to score 27, 28, 29 points a game, and he lose because he was the only player doing that on the team. You got another player that's scoring 30 a game too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. AD could easily put up just as many, if not more.
You got another player scoring 30 a game too. So if LeBron give you 27, AD gonna give you 32 a game, and that's just how their duo has been working. So the Lake, I'm being generous saying in 6. I really want to say in 4 or 5, but I'm not gonna disrespect them.
Yeah,
I just think the Heat have the capabilities of shutting down one of them. I think, and then doing just enough.
I honestly, so like I've been watching a lot of like the hype videos or whatever, the talk shows, people talking about it. Do you see where Pippen said this is like a pickup game, like it doesn't count as the NBA Finals? Scottie Pippen said that.
I understand that, and somebody made a point. I was telling you about the I Am Athlete podcast, right? And they were making a point about like how all these players in the bubble have like dudes that you never heard of, they dropping 40 and 50 points a game. Yeah. Like TJ Warren, for example. And they say basically the bubble made it like a practice field. Like you've been in practice before. That those dudes that are practice all-stars, like they make all these plays, but they get in front of the fans and they get under the lights and they freeze up and it's different. And basically that's what Scottie Pippen is saying, and I agree with that kind of like in a way. You don't have the same pressure. You don't have people telling you that you're a choke artist. You don't have all these like
trash talk.
Yeah, you don't have all this judgment going on outside of the players that are out there.
I think that has something to do with it. But as an athlete, like I don't know how you mentally work when you're playing, but I don't hear a damn thing that anybody else says. Like from the crowd, sometimes I don't even hear my coach. Like when I'm playing, and I honestly think the finals would, and even the whole playoff series would have been that much better with fans. Like I don't think like TJ Warren would have not went off in front of the home crowd. I think Tyler Hero is more of a superstar if there is a crowd than in the bubble.
I understand. I get what you're saying, like from that standpoint, but it's still like something to be said about the coming out and the looking in the stands and the like just being on the bench and hearing funny stuff behind you. Like it's something to say
Totally
about
different
that.
feel.
And that's why I feel where they're coming from. Like it's easy to say he would have did it, but he never did it before.
And it's hard to know.
Like he's never did it, so I feel like it's easier to go on the side of it's playing without fans than it's he would have did it.
I can see both sides of that coin.
Yeah, for sure.
I completely agree. I don't think this is real finals at all. I don't think we really got the full feel of what the season was gonna, be made out.
Yeah.
Because the Clippers were definitely the best team before COVID hit, and I think that affected them a lot with team chemistry.
What do you mean, like they're the best team on paper?
Yeah, that they were obviously the favorites. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a lot of
the Lakers are the number one
scenarios.
team. The Lakers were still the number one team in the West.
I just think
technically,
but the Clippers were still the favorites to win the NBA Finals
by who?
by mostly everybody. The Lakers.
They were doing that despite LeBron. They didn't really think the Clippers were the best team in the league. You know what type of haters. You know what type of haters LeBron bring. Don't act stupid, Christian.
The Clippers were the best
Don't get
team
on here acting stupid.
pre-COVID.
Negative.
All right.
Yeah.
It's fine. They can win the fake NBA Finals in the next year.
I bet that ring gonna be real with them real diamonds on it.
Yeah. You just remember that he had an easier path to the NBA Finals this year.
Why?
So.
Because he beat the team that beat the Clippers. Seems very easy.
I mean, the West,
very easy to me.
The West was extremely soft this year.
The East was better.
I think in the playoffs, yeah, they were probably
how
better.
They had a team that lost 2 games the whole playoffs. Talk about easy. That sounds very easy to me.
If you look,
doesn't that sound way easier than what the people in the West went through?
No, that just shows how good the Heat are.
No, that just shows that the East was weaker. They had a team that won 2 games through the playoffs. The best team in the East went 4-1.
So was the
best team in the East went 4? You look puzzled.
So was the East easy when LeBron was in the East?
That's what people said. He dominated it.
But then when Steph and Clay and the Golden State was on their prime, everybody was saying the West was harder.
The West is always harder. Like,
Golden State was almost sweeping every single team. So how is that any different?
They were obviously better than everybody.
Talent-wise,
they
the
were
East had better players. Talent-wise,
name your top 5 players in the NBA.
I'm not.
Name your top 5 players in the NBA.
That has nothing to do with what I just
Name your
said.
top 10 players in the NBA, and I bet you over 50% of them come from the West Side. Over 50%.
I'm talking this year.
Name your top 10 players in the NBA this year. Because guess what? If we're doing all around, then you have Kevin Durant. But you don't have Kevin Durant. You have this year. Name your top 10 players in the NBA.
So you're saying that the Nuggets overall season were better than the Celtics. On paper, they were better than the Celtics.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not going to say that because the Celtics was the second best team. The Celtics was the second best team in the East. The Celtics does have more talent than the Nuggets. But name your top 10 players in the NBA, and I'll tell you what side is more talented.
That has nothing to do with what I just said. I'm talking East and West.
Hold on.
I'm not talking.
Okay.
It doesn't matter about my top 10 favorite team because I'm probably going to be biased on most of those because I'm a Lakers fan. So obviously, a majority of them are going to come from them.
So what
I'm
are you
talking about
standing
this
on?
Year with taking into consideration injuries.
What are you standing on?
I'm talking.
Who are the top? Okay, give me your top 3 teams in the West, and then give me your top 3 teams in the East. And we'll go by that.
Obviously, if you're going to talk
you got Clippers, Lakers, and give me a third team.
They would have to be the Nuggets since they got the closest.
Right. Now give me your top 3
in a
teams.
Sense.
Give me your top 3 teams in the East.
Post or pre-COVID? Or right now.
All around, everything. Your top three
Right
teams
now,
in
the
East.
Heat probably be the Celtics and the Bucks, but then the Bucks got absolutely obliterated in the playoffs and embarrassed. But if you match those teams up from the East, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to beat the West.
How do you figure that?
Pre-COVID, I'm going to say
How do you
pre-COVID.
figure? I'm gonna tell you what's gonna shut all this down. Because pre-COVID, the Heat were still a top 5 team in the East. The Heat are about to get straight up beat down in the finals, and that's gonna shut everything you talking about down.
It's hypothetical, so I mean.
But let's match your number 1 team versus the number 1 team, your number 2 team versus number 2 team, your number 3 versus number 3.
Well, my number 1 and number 1 is about to play in the NBA playoffs, so we're about to see that.
And the Lakers are better.
And my number 2, I said Celtics, and then what? Clippers.
The Clippers are better.
I think that goes.
That's two out of 3.
That goes Game 7.
No, it doesn't. They couldn't even go Game 7 with the Heat. And you said the Clippers were the number 1 team you said they were the best team in the West. That's what you said.
So you're
a Lakers fan that said that.
So tell me this: would the Nuggets, third best team, to me in the West, would beat all 3 in the East?
I like them to beat two out of 3. I like them to beat Celtics in 7. I like them to beat the Bucks in 7. The Heat is way too scrappy for the Celtics. I mean for the Nuggets. They're way too scrappy for the Nuggets.
Rest my case. I don't know.
Yeah, you're leaving out of here without a W today.
I think what people fail to consider is at any level of a sports team, it doesn't matter what talent you have, what adversity you face, like good teams always prevail. Like you look at the Clippers and people can say, oh, pre-COVID they're the best team, but it doesn't matter. If you're the best team, you're going to be the best team no matter what's thrown in your way. And I think that shows for the Lakers. Like they were good before COVID happened. They were good after COVID happened. The Clippers laid an egg in the bubble because I don't think they were a good team in theory. I mean, Paul George gave that speech and there's people rolling his eyes about going for another championship run.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think they were all in together.
No, they definitely they skipped the chemistry process for sure, and just thought it was gonna work and it didn't. Well, too bad, so sad. I feel like going back over to the West, the Rockets would beat almost any team in the East. Well, no, they would beat 14 of the 15 teams in the East in a 7-game series.
With the way Russell Westbrook was shooting and the way James Harden was shooting,
especially
in their last series.
Versus who? The Lakers. Okay. The best team in the West. Okay.
I mean, Russell Westbrook was missing open shots.
He's been doing this. Like, what's new about that? You
in
said
the playoffs,
he did that when he played for y'all.
So how does that logic still stick that they would beat anybody in the East? If they
because
can't even beat
they
anybody
played
in the West?
that well. The teams in the East are not that good. Like I said, the best team in the East got 4-1 in the playoffs. So what are you really saying?
They struggled with OKC that had
OKC.
that had who?
It don't matter who they had. They had a great leader and they had a great team.
That's true.
Okay, if you want to compare OKC to any team, you can compare them to the Bucks, minus Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're a great basketball team that play great basketball together. No, actually, not even the Bucks. The Miami Heat. When you look at what they got, you look at the odds that people gave them. They're not supposed to be where they were. The Heat are not supposed to be where they are, but they play great basketball together. And that's why the Thunder were in the position they were in.
I don't follow NBA like that.
So rest in my case, after taking that W in a debate, speaking on debates, we will move on to the first presidential debate of 2020. Reactions.
Not good. Not good at all. For anybody. It was atrocious.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
It was pretty
really bad look.
It's a bad look for the whole country. It's to the point where like people that I knew that were real hard for Trump it's just the best that America could come up with. Like, can we get new candidates? This is ridiculous. And I'm like, dang, like Trump messing up that bad. Like, I'm not surprised like that people felt that way about Biden because Biden doesn't have any supporters. Like Biden, you don't see people flying Biden flags and like going hard for Biden. They're voting for Biden because they have to. If they are.
I mean, I wouldn't say that completely. I don't think he brands himself as that, as his campaign needing to have a flag.
I agree with that. He's not quite so gung ho on his.
But it's a presidential campaign. Like Obama had flags. Like I'm just saying, like you don't see, Biden has flags, but you don't see people going to buy them.
Well, you don't see somebody with there's some people I follow on Twitter that have like Trump 2020 in their header. Yeah. Like you don't see, not that I've seen, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make Biden my Twitter header. You know what I mean?
He don't get that support.
Yeah.
So like,
I get you.
Whether he's right or wrong, I don't expect people to like go hard for him.
Right.
But like when you got people that were Trump supporters, like they were MAGA supporters, and you got them saying how bad it was, I think that speaks volumes to how bad it actually was.
Not for everybody, man. Let me tell you, have someone on.
Oh no, you
Twitter.
never gonna cure stupidity. Like it's gonna always be some stupid people out here.
So obviously, I had to get on. I mean, I don't know if you guys got on Twitter to see people's live reactions.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things I did. And this lady that actually, I think she goes here. I'm not too sure, but let's leave names confidential. But she seriously said that Joe Biden was basically the more unprofessional one to start the debate.
Before the debate happened? Or she said that while the debate was going on?
While the debate.
While it was going on? He was the one more unprofessional?
Yeah. That she wasn't surprised that he would act that way. I feel like none of us watch the same debate.
No. It's not the same thing.
I didn't watch the debate, me personally. It was my birthday yesterday. I went out to dinner and stuff like that. But I did get on Twitter and like just reading through tweets from last night that was still on my timeline. I seen a lot of people saying it was unprofessional. They were arguing like kids. And then I went to watch a clip. And when I watched the clip, not to sound biased or anything, because I don't support either one of them, not fans of either one of them, but it seemed like the unprofessionalism that came from Biden was provoked by Donald Trump being unprofessional. Not saying it's right, but like he got talked over the whole night. Like
that came from the moderator Chris Wallace having to shut him down. And I think people don't understand that just because Donald Trump is the president, his power, I guess you could say, is basically gone for the night when you're in those debates. Your team agreed upon 2 minutes, per person on the segment, and he didn't want to go by those rules. So, I mean, Chris Wallace was well within his rights as a moderator to shut him down. Chris Wallace was not debating with Donald Trump. Donald Trump was debating with Chris Wallace. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's something that Trump supporters don't understand. And that's what kind of irritated me.
Yeah, and I understand the debate is between the two candidates, but it's for the people. And I think Trump got caught up a lot in arguing with Biden instead of answering the questions for the people.
I watched the whole thing, and I wouldn't even say that they argued. I think it was more one was trying to sell their point while the other was trying to sell their point, and it was who could say it the longest, the loudest without like getting interrupted or shut down by Chris Wallace. And it was gross to watch because like it just felt scripted. Like Trump would say
somebody
something.
Somebody said it was a Step Brothers spinoff.
I don't even know what it was, like a Saturday Night Live skit is what it felt like. It felt like just a joke the whole time. And I don't think any logical person can watch that and say that I want that guy to run our country. Either side. Like I don't think anybody's going out of their way to say he is the best option for our country right now.
In a bad spot. Moreover, talking about the debate and things that were said last night, how do you guys feel about Trump being asked to denounce white supremacist group and this guy telling his which I know Joe Biden gave them the name Proud Boys. Trump said, give me a name, what do you want me to call them? And Joe Biden was like, Proud Boys. And Trump was like, to all my Proud Boys, stand down and stand by. Dude, what?
Yeah, I didn't catch that at first, and then I saw it on Twitter.
Like
he didn't even. Yeah, he didn't denounce it. He said stand by. I mean, what
does that
like,
mean?
And like stand down is one thing. Like all right, they actually because that's literally what the moderator said. He said, "Are you going to ask them to stand down?"
Mm-hmm.
So to tell them to stand down is one thing, right? Boom. But to tell them to stand by, that mean like to stay ready.
Yeah.
Like stay ready for it. And I'm like, stay ready for what? Like, what is the need for them in a free country in America?
Bro, I think it's so ridiculous to watch when Chris Wallace told him to denounce white supremacists. Like he first totally avoided saying it. Mm-hmm. Like he went on another tangent, and then Wallace reminded him again to denounce white supremacy, and he wouldn't say it, and then he said stand down and stand by. But the entire time Trump was trying to get Biden to say law enforcement because Trump thinks that Biden doesn't think we need police. But Biden was saying law enforcement, we need police, and they kept repeating that.
We were talking about it earlier. Trump was trying to get at the same time, right? Trump said stand down and stand by, and he said, but he won't denounce Antifa and Black Lives Matter.
Right.
That's what Trump's response to Biden was. And like, and honestly, dude, you're already digging yourself a hole. It's bad enough this question has to be asked to you in a presidential debate.
Yeah.
Like they're asking you to denounce white supremacist groups in a presidential debate.
On national television.
You feel me? But you tell them to stand down, stand by, and then you shift it immediately to Biden not denouncing Antifa. Well, Biden he's not the president. Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't support him. It's not like he has a support for Antifa, but he's not the president. If anybody needs to denounce Antifa, you do. Mm-hmm. Like you do. That's your job, dude. You run the country. But I don't know, man. That definitely was a big eyebrow raiser for me. But you know, sometimes supporters can't see any wrong because they agree with everything. And that's how they feel, and they support those groups. And him telling them to stand down and stand by, that kid that killed the people in Wisconsin was on standby.
Yeah, I think what's really sad at the state of the nation right now is we were the ones who elected those people to run for the country, like to be the ones in charge of the country with preliminary votes, and there was early debates. Like people in power chose these two people to be the candidates to run our country, and I think that's why it's important for our demographic to vote and be more involved in that sort of thing. That way, you know, this doesn't happen again.
I mean,
I think the issue goes beyond voting, especially with our generation. It's a trend on Twitter, and the 2016 election showed that. Everybody's like, "Oh, vote for Bernie Sanders," but
yeah, it's all clout. It's all clout.
But the thing was, Bernie didn't even make it to where he could have got pushed through prelims because he denounced and dropped down before it got to where it was him versus Biden.
Right.
So like,
but
he also felt the tide. Like Joe Biden getting, he has a big name, and like you already got people saying like he's a socialist and like a socialist can't run America. And my whole thing with that was, bruh, if Trump didn't get to do everything that he promised his supporters he was going to do in his 4 years, what makes you think Bernie Sanders is going to be able to turn America into a socialist country in 4 years?
I mean, you look at how much damage Donald Trump has done. Bernie Sanders can do just as much damage with his views. I mean, it's possible. Would the damage be positive or negative? That's in the eyes of whatever you want to see it as politically.
Donald Trump's damage come from being stupid, though.
Yeah, and hate.
He just makes stupid decisions.
I think Kanye West would have looked more professional last night than Donald Trump. I would have rather had Kanye West up there.
I agree. Kanye would have held it together.
No.
He would have told.
He probably would have like promoted an album or something. I don't know.
I'm not getting on that boat.
I mean, I don't know. It would have been. He would have told Trump to shut up a lot sooner.
Yeah, for sure.
But he didn't. He also support Trump like
he was
in 2017.
So
yeah, everybody was calling him like
he was
little errand boy or whatever. I don't know.
He was trying to. So Kim Kardashian does this prison reform thing, and Kanye was basically using that to help Kim's prison reform stuff where they get inmates out of jail who are wrongly convicted.
Yeah. Or
So-
like, isn't one of them like for small convictions? Like if
Yeah,
they like it was
yeah.
like a schedule, like or like in California.
When they chunk up they chunk up the charges or whatever the sentence on a small conviction.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So he used that stuff. He used that being with Trump to like push that or whatever. But people seen it as he's a Trump supporter, which he probably is. Like this dude's rich.
Well, and I think
So
something
I wouldn't be
interesting
surprised.
about Kanye that like anything controversial he does. Like when he jumped up on the stage in front of Taylor Swift, when he told and on national television that George Bush doesn't care about black
Yeah.
people. Like Kanye's always been that controversial person. And he's not afraid to do stuff like that, but he gets stuff done too with whatever he does.
It's always progress. So
Yeah,
I can't complain.
he's an
about
interesting guy.
it.
Anybody but him.
Man, I really wish Bernie Sanders would have still been in this. Honestly,
Would have been a different race for sure.
I think this would have been his year. Honestly, like at this point, he wouldn't even have to try hard because Trump messed up so badly. Like Trump, if how I look at Trump's presidency is like good, bad this year. Like and like I'm not to say I'm definitely not a fan, but like he hadn't did anything in his first 3 years that was bad enough for him to not be reelected. But the way he handled this pandemic was enough for him to not be reelected. But him going against Joe Biden is enough to be reelected.
I think something we're going to see with this election, and especially the campaign right now, is I would say the vast majority of the United States is like right in the middle. Like everybody knows that these people are not good for the country. I think what we're going to see a rise of is the extremists on both sides. Like that's all we're going to see, because I think Trump supporters that are gung-ho, you know, the more racist side of his supporters are going to be, you know, talking out more, and then the extreme left side with extremists from the Democratic Party are just going to try to fight back. And I think the majority of us, like, we're like, we don't care. Like, honestly, just both are not good. Like, we can all agree on that.
At this point, I don't really care what happens. I mean, hopefully I'm not hit too bad by either one being elected. Cause
See, I wouldn't even say that. It has to be somebody else than Donald Trump. I mean, I don't think our country can survive 4 more years of hate.
I agree with that, but like, are people going to vote for Biden? Like,
I don't know.
They have to. I mean, lesser of the two evils. That's what everybody said when Trump
But
and
some
Hillary
people
were
are try-
elected. So, I mean,
some
this is the
people are
same
trying to make it
scenario.
out for Joe Biden to be more evil than Trump. So like, you can say the lesser of two evils, but some people actually think Trump is the lesser of the two. Which I don't see how you could think that after all this Epstein stuff came out and all those cases of sexual assault that were all those court cases were found where he just settled out of 26 sexual assault charges.
Who did?
Trump.
Trump did.
He's been able to pay off so many people.
Bro,
It's ridiculous.
I heard that people were saying that it was Joe Biden.
No,
Was it with Epstein?
People, no.
Yeah.
People are saying it's Joe Biden, but I'm talking about the 26 cases, the 26 court files that are found with Trump's name on them, paying people off, having settlements, all sexual assault cases. Like, all right, one, questionable. You hear some stuff. I mean, who's to know? But the court cases, you settled 26 times. You didn't fight not one of them. You didn't say, I didn't do not one of these. You just went on and paid it out. It's pretty questionable.
Some people don't see it like that either. Like they want to ignore it.
Yeah, but that's why I feel like the problem lies. Like, all political stuff aside, this dude is a sick person. And like, you can say Biden is too. I feel like a lot of those people up top are.
The old and creepy.
But you can say Biden is too, all right, but where the court, like, what is the evidence behind it? Are we just throwing Biden's name in there just like we're throwing all those other hundreds of celebrities'
That
names in
thing
there?
with Biden, the pedo Joe or whatever they're throwing around now. But so here's the big question, and a lot of people say with Trump supporters, they say I support Trump, but I'm not racist. How do you guys?
I mean,
How do you guys see that?
don't call yourself a supporter. Just say you're a Republican. Because economically, for Republicans, Trump was good. So like, say you're a Republican, you can, and like that's where it goes to like political values don't carry over to moral value or like moral value, and like I can see it from that standpoint. But do not like be all for the wall and like helping raise money for this man projects and then tell me you're not racist. You're racist. You're definitely racist.
You can't say I support Trump and then completely ignore a lot of his policies and or comments about people of color. You just can't do that. Like, oh, he has good business plans, but you know what? I'm just gonna look aside what he said about the Hispanic community.
Man,
what kind of logic is that?
What's going on in ICE right now is crazy. You guys hear about the
camps? Have you heard about that?
The camps,
hysterectomies?
The doctor that was going around giving ladies random hysterectomies at the camps.
No, I didn't hear about that.
It was a camp in Georgia. Doctor was going around just taking stuff off.
What?
Yeah, lady and one ladies are like, why are all of us getting this? Like, why are we getting hit? Who is calling for this?
Yeah.
This doctor was just doing it on their own.
Did they give a reason? Did they like find out why?
They didn't even know it was happening.
That's nasty.
Yeah. So like stuff like that, like how do you support that?
Yeah.
And like and then like they got a big hashtag like women for Trump. As a lady, you hear this dude talking about just
women?
grabbing a woman by her private area. How do you support this man? You got ladies getting random hysterectomies at the little camps he got set up. How do you support them? You got moms with families in these camps. Like, put yourself as a mom, put yourself in those shoes. How can you support this?
I think that's what we lack as Americans is empathy. You look at anybody's situation. You don't have control over where you're born, what you're born into, and how, what color of skin you are. And there's proven facts that as a person of color in the United States, you're at a major disadvantage from the day you're born. And I think people, Caucasian white Americans, fail to put that sort of empathetic thinking into the mind of, maybe if I was in that situation, I would want help too. Yeah. But they don't think like that. Well, it's not my fault I was born, in this family, or it's good for me, lucky me that I was born into a good family and can be in this position. I think that's where we lack as a nation. We just don't have any love for anybody. It's hard to see the other side. Nobody wants to look at it because it sucks.
Man, that's a conversation for a different day and definitely a bigger stage. I feel like a lot of people need to hear that stuff.
It is. It's just
a lot of people walk around every day with their head up and like just feel like they're not responsible for anybody, anything else in this world. Like not knowing, like, bro, I think God put us all here to help. Like everyone, ultimately, like everybody has a different calling, but the ultimate like goal of that calling is for you to help someone. Whether it's you with your camera or you like writing stories or me doing whatever I go into, like it's to help someone, to help someone be put in a better position or be in a better state than they were when you found them. And obviously a lot of people in this country need to hear it. So.
Definitely. That's what we're all here to do, is to help. There's no reason to be hateful. It's just sad. I don't want my kids to grow up in this country like that.
I mean,
I don't understand how people can be racist. I don't understand. I honestly do not understand how you can look at somebody who's black or brown, whatever, and say I hate you just because of your skin color. I just don't get it.
And like I mean, racism is taught just like anything else. Just like and I always feel like it's taught like not directly generation. I think it like generation over generation. So like, all right, back in the 60s, those people that were racist, they learned from their grandparents. And you move like people in our generation that are racist, they learn from their grandparents. Like it's just, I think that's just how it goes. And like someone like, all right, say you got a friend, right? If he was to learn it, it would have been learned from his grandparents. Like, and his dad would have learned it from his grandparents. Like it's just, it's something that you kind of have to be a old-hearted person to pass it down,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I don't feel like parents pass it down directly, but rather they learn it from their grandparents.
Right. Well, and I think kids have no clue. Like you said, it's a passed down thing. You're not born that way.
But that's the thing. Like, it can start early.
Right.
Like it can be as simple as this grandfather taking his grandson to the store to get juice and letting them know, like, we don't like those kind of people.
Right.
And that whole thing about racism being taught, I think a lot of that started when we started associating color with crime.
It's a whole intertwined mess between the early beginnings of the United States to the civil rights movement in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
It's all interlinked. You know, everything associates with everything, and it all connects.
There's a documentary on Netflix called The 13th.
Yep, I've seen that. That's good.
Do you remember the beginning when it said when slavery was abolished that they started associating color with crime?
Yeah.
Black people, here's this innocent little white girl, this black person's going to rape them just because of the color of their skin. That's when, obviously slavery, but even when, slavery was abolished, people still associated skin color with crime and them being a lesser individual just based upon their skin color. And we still see that today.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, like, I was reading last week that there weren't any prisons until slavery was abolished. Like,
Yeah.
like they had jails. Like, you had jails, but like that's where you did your sentences and stuff. Like at like little jails, there weren't like big prisons like they are now until slavery was abolished.
And that the documentary actually touches on that. Especially people in the South, they would arrest African people to legalize slavery. Because you would go to prison, then you would work for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a legal way
like that
to
this
have
day.
slavery.
Yeah, it was never truly abolished, like on paper for sure, but like they're still going to prison. They were still doing labor camps. Like it never really ended for
Arresting
them.
them for the smaller stuff. You get arrested for spitting on the ground.
Yeah.
Spitting on a concrete road that all these cars drive over. You get arrested for.
I mean, even that stuff even happened throughout the 1900s.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of
For sure.
prison reforms and laws passed that would target African American communities.
The war on drugs.
It made them more
80s.
vulnerable to
Ronald
being
Reagan.
arrested.
Yeah, Reagan's policy that it tripled the amount of people in the prisons. It was like 300,000 Americans were in United States prisons, and then after his term was over, it was like 600,000 Americans were in prison. So
That's
tripled the amount just in 8 years. It's crazy.
The war on drugs is some scary stuff. I'll tell you that.
It's good to see that it's changing though.
Yeah, I mean,
It's getting better.
yeah, I mean, the main drug in this country isn't as harsh now.
Not as bad as it was.
The top drugs aren't like crack rock.
Right.
So you can say it like that.
Yeah.
But nah, man, that was some good stuff today. Gonna wrap it up. This is your boy Amari. That was Christian. That was Jason. We're out.